on AM 560. The Answer. Every Sunday at 5 p.m. We hope you guys are having a wonderful Friday afternoon. I know the first snow is hit out here in Chicago.
Chi-town.
A lot of people are thinking it's
that word. I like that word,
Chi-town?
No,
not a huge.
I never liked that.
Not a huge fan. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, remember this show is sponsored by Opum Tax Resolution 312-664-6649 to visit ChicagoTaxTeam.com. It's going to be your hub to help fight the IRS. I'm Jim Leahy with At Properties, 847-271-3695. If you're looking to buy or sell real estate in the northeastern Illinois area, let's start thinking about tomorrow today. 2019 is coming right around the corner, so let's see where your home stands in the market. Ladies and gentlemen, we want to thank you so much for tuning in again. Okay, Deborah Schreiner, our technical producer, is with us today. We're gonna bring her on in a little bit once the show starts. Sorry if a little under the weather today with this bad with the cold coming in.
I'm gonna try it on this side today. And then do Jim. Let me see Jim. There he is. And then do both. There's both of us.
Remember, ladies and gentlemen, if you have any questions during our live feed, you can always type below in the comment section. Before you do that, though, make sure you like, you subscribe, and you share with all your friends.
And don't swear.
Have you had problems with somebody swearing?
No, but Facebook does. Facebook has this problem. They think that we're swearing all the time. That's why they won't put any of my videos up. I don't like them.
I didn't know anything about that.
I just told you that they denied one of our spots. They said there was profanity. But there was no profanity. Oh, it's kind of a.
What are we talking about today, Attorney Stephen Lee? Let's close that. Yeah, just close that up. What are we going to be talking about today, Attorney Stephen Leahy?
IRS problems, Jim. Is that better? This is the technical side of videos that people don't understand. Can't have too much light. It's still yet have too much light. Oh well. It's still good. It's all good. It's all good. It's all good. I'm going to talk about people who haven't filed their tax returns and the bad things that can happen if you don't do that. That's going to be the blog segment. And then on the Mr. Know-It-All segment, I had a good question. Let me look. I wrote it down. Someone asked me a good question.
No, we had one from last week, remember?
I don't remember. What was the...
I knew we would forget it.
Did you write it down?
No, because I told you to write it down. He goes, no, I have it in my phone.
That I already had it in my phone.
You still have it then.
Oh, I have it. What's the best tax advice you have if I start my own business?
Exactly. I think that's going to be more important because we're coming to the end
of... That was the question I just wrote down.
I think it's going to be more important for the viewers out there because we are coming to the end of the year, and hey, with all those new resolutions coming in, people wanting to start their own business is always on the top.
I had another question. I'll try to find that other question, but that's the ones we're going to go with today. What's the best advice I have for you if you're starting your own business? I can't tell you how many people that I have come see me because they started their own business and didn't really realize what goes into this. And it's not always that easy. It's more like if I'm opening up a bake shop and I'm making cookies. I make the best darn pies in the world. There's more than making pies. Starting your business, a pie business, is more than just making the pies. That's just one part of it. And it's an important part, yes, but it's not even the most important part of a business. Because you can make great pie. Okay, let me wait for the show before I can get into this. What do you think? How you feeling today, Deborah? She's not answering. Are we going to do the Constitution segment this week?
If you want to,
we're going to do it because I want to get that intro out there for people to hear.
I'll also be talking a little bit today too.
Veterans Day.
What are you going to talk about, Jim?
As the show goes on, how important it is to get pre-qualified before you start your home buying process.
Oh.
It's not always
not a pre-approval.
And even though pre-approvals can still go through and everything's going to be hunky-dory and fine,
Could be.
It's still makes the process easier when you get a pre-qualification.
For everyone.
Ready to go?
I am ready to go. I am ready to go. Go.
Pursuant to Internal Revenue Service guidance, be advised that any federal tax advice contained in this program is not intended to be used, and it cannot be used by any person or entity for the purpose of avoiding any tax penalties that may be imposed by the Internal Revenue Service or any other U.S. federal taxing authority or agency, or promoting, marketing, or recommending to another party any transaction or matter addressed in this show. The opinions expressed by the host and the guests are their own and may not be used as authoritative advice. Any use of this material without the written consent of the host is strictly prohibited.
You're listening to the IRS Radio Hour with your host, Attorney Stephen Leahy, on AM 560, The Answer. Tune in every week at 5 for an informative discussion about IRS obligations, credit card debt, mortgage default, collection activity, and how to resolve these legal issues using tax resolution, debt settlement, mortgage loan modification, foreclosure defense, and bankruptcy. Your host is Stephen Leahy, and the principal at Open Tax Resolutions and the law office of Stephen Leahy, PC. Stephen is the author of Deal with Your IRS Problems Today. IRS and debt issues are serious, but there is help. There are resolutions. So get ready and take notes during the IRS Radio Hour. And now, here's your host, Attorney Stephen Leahy.
Hello, Chicago taxpayers. We are coming to you from Studio C at AM 560, The Answer. This is the IRS Radio Hour.
Quiet, numbskulls. I'm broadcasting.
Now, remember, this show is sponsored by the law office of Stephen A. Leahy, PC, and Opum Tax Resolutions.
God bless you, Opum Tax Resolution.
Opum helps people solve IRS problems. We help people with audits and levies, liens and garnishments, collections, unfiled tax returns, and payroll tax issues. We also help people with mortgage foreclosures, loan modifications, bankruptcy, and other debt-related issues. So if you have any of these problems, or if you know someone who does, and we all do, you should have them give me a call at 312-664-6649. Again, that number's 312-664-6649. Or visit us on the web at chicagotaxteam.com. I want to introduce our technical producer, Deborah Schreiner.
Hey, guys. Good
Hello.
day to you.
Oh, it is a good day. It's always a good day when it snows and it's rainy and it's
I always
cold.
like the first snowfall.
I do
think
too. It's brisk. And that
coming
other
from Chicago, you know, I'm used to the whole bad weather, as we all are. So
this
I
other
welcome
guy
it.
interrupting my spiel is my nephew.
You don't like it, do you?
My nephew, my co-host, my realtor, my very good friend, Jim Leahy.
I don't think he's a smart person, but he's got a loud voice. He gets paid to do that. You know, he gets paid to burst in. He's a very unprofessional guy.
Deborah Schreiner, best in the business.
I actually
really
love that one.
love that beginning.
That might be my favorite.
I think that's the best beginning.
Almost
you've
as much
ever
as
had.
the other from Sonny and Phil.
The Sonny is really good, but
that's a
that
good
one was out of nowhere.
I didn't know you knew the president that well, that he would do an intro for you
Hey,
like that.
you know.
That to me is amazing.
I'm in real estate.
Well, go ahead, do your
Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning into the IRS Radio Hour on AM 560.
The Answer.
I am joined by the group here today, and we're here to inform you of all the good things the IRS does for people each day, such as audits, levies, liens, garnishments. But we've already gone over that. Not only do we talk about that, though, we talk about other things that relate to you, the Illinois taxpayer. Let's get right
and
into it.
they were hit hard.
The News Roundup.
Review and comment on the news.
Did anybody listen to my challenge to Illinois?
I don't
Did that
think-
happen?
No, nobody listened.
Nobody
to that.
listened.
Nobody listened. I did. I listened.
I did too.
voted. Did you vote?
Yes.
Did you vote, Deborah?
I voted.
Good for you.
Yes.
Now, I happen to believe that not everybody should vote. my own opinion. You should be informed, and obviously, some people are.
There
voting
needs to
that
be
aren't informed
something.
on what
There
the heck's
needs
going on
to
in
be
this world.
something that has to change because it comes down to. I don't care if you're Republican or Democrat, but there has to be some sort of not maybe proficiency of like understanding where you came from, but not where. I don't know. Something's got to change here because too much. I think it should be on the day. Too much happens when you mail in the ballots and we'll hide them here.
Yeah. Oh, look, we just found a whole bag that we didn't count. Oh, did you? Oh, what a coincidence. Do they only hide those votes that are for Democrats, or do they hide Republican votes too, but they just never find them? That's what I want to know. Because what's going on here in 4 different states, they're finding votes all of a sudden. There's laws against this. They're supposed to report by Wednesday morning, but they're not reporting. Georgia, they're finding votes. Arizona, they're finding votes. Indiana, they're finding votes. Florida, they're finding. In Illinois, we don't even have to worry about the votes because the vote was so skewed, it doesn't really matter.
Did they call J.B. Pritzker what? Now we're into it?
Not even. I was listening to
I was surprised.
Election coverage here on AM 560.
The answer. It was fairly quick.
And he called it right at the beginning, right?
I was surprised.
Right at the start of the show.
I was surprised.
Bruce Dumont called it right at the beginning.
I was surprised, really, that he won that quickly.
You know what?
I thought he only mostly got the city and Cook County, and Rauner got a lot of other parts of Illinois.
Yeah, well,
Southern Illinois.
I haven't looked at the map, but I could have called it the day before the votes, because it was so obvious what was going to happen, and everything I thought was going to be. Actually, no, I thought here in Illinois we'd have, but this is the second election in a row where the blue wave just came over. There are no Republicans left.
No,
and there aren't going to be any Republicans.
Even if it's
left.
a Republican, doesn't matter. There's got to be an opposition to who's standing in power. For God's sakes, you got a guy sitting there for 40 years.
He's in charge.
I can't go off too much because I can go.
So
off.
what's
can you get mad? Can you get mad?
We're talking about people fleeing. Let's talk about people fleeing.
Yeah, let's talk about people fleeing. Let's talk about it.
They were doing it first. They were fleeing anyway, but now I'm telling you, I hear it everywhere. It's not just a couple of people, grumbling. Maybe I should leave. No, people are taking action and leaving. Okay, they're leaving, and people with money, the first ones to go. So let's go. So what does Illinois do about it? Well, they don't. They don't want to look at their tax policies and try to change them and keep people here. No, what they're going to do is if you want to go, you could go, but we're gonna hit you as hard as we can.
That's
before
right.
you leave.
You're not leaving without paying.
They want to change.
You want to save money? No, not today.
The title transfer tax
is
going to be graduated, which means that the more your house is worth, the bigger percentage they're going to take on that transfer tax.
Right.
They're going to double it in some cases. So if you have $1 million home, which in Illinois in Chicago's not that great of a home anymore.
No.
It ain't $1 million. It ain't the $1 million home I dreamt about. But you got a $5 million home? Oh man, they're going to hit you hard.
Good luck.
You're first off, you can't sell it anyway because who wants that home with the property taxes that are going to kill you? But now you're going to get the property taxes.
I can tell you plenty of stories of people who have just absolutely gorgeous homes. Can't get rid of them.
Cannot get rid of them. Nobody wants the
taking
taxes.
bites and bites and bites and bites.
And then they're going to do the transfer tax. So what is this? Is it because they think that when you leave they're going to trap you, or are they trying to trap you that you can't leave? They're going to make it that you can't sell your house. You can't go. We won't let you go. You can't. We won't allow you to leave because we need your money. And that's the way it works.
I just don't understand. He had such a great Pritzker had such a great campaign, put all this money in. Who can? Isn't that the big red flag
Look
right
at the
there?
Numbers
How
that
much money the guy spent?
Look at the money. His own money. Not including all the union money and all the other, his own money into this. What do they pay?
What do you think he's going to do
this job?
What do you think he's going to do with your money?
It's just amazing to me.
It's the same
that
thing.
Somebody would spend that kind of money to get a job that pays peanuts. According to him, it's peanuts. I mean, for all of us, that's a lot of money, but for him, it's peanuts. I don't think it was 1% of what he spent to get the job. Doesn't make any sense. Or does it?
You decide.
Or does it?
Well, you already decided, ladies and gentlemen. We already had that option. I already laid down the call.
I want to talk about the states like Illinois, states like New York, states like California that are going under. Well, so fast.
There's no coincidence that they're going under
but there are no Republican opposition in any of those states. There's no Republican opposition.
No choice.
So would you think people would stand up and say, wait a minute, this isn't working. We need to change it. Maybe we should change our policies. But no, what happens? They double down on it.
Well, anyway, ladies and
it's
gentlemen.
It's just amazing to me.
Well, we're going to double down on today is talking about what can happen to you if you don't pay your taxes. And that's what Attorney Stephen Leahy is going to talk about in the blog segment.
If you don't file your tax return.
Exactly. Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
So.
Also, too, we're going to be doing a new segment today, Constitution segment. That's always a fun one. Happy Veterans Day to all of our veterans out there.
Yes.
So we hope you guys are having a wonderful Sunday. Hopefully,
11/11
happiness and it was the end of World War I today.
Today's 11.
The end of World War I.
That's right.
Ladies and gentlemen, remember we got a great show lined up. Oh, I'll also tell you guys too today how important it is to get a pre-qualification before your home buying experience. We'll talk a little bit about that in a little bit. But remember, this show is sponsored by Open Tax Resolution, 312-664-6649, or visit chicagotaxteam.com. It's going to be your help to help fight the IRS. I'm Jim Leahy with That Properties, 847-271-3695. Let's start thinking about tomorrow, today, and let's listen to our sponsors during the commercial break and come right back and get some information that we all need on AM 560, The Answer.
We got to find a place to plug our show. It's coming up. So we got to do that. And I got to also find. I'm getting better at this switching of cameras.
Yeah, you are.
And trying to get the tags in, so I'm not covering everybody's face. It's kind of awkward. But I'm telling you, people moving to Tennessee like crazy. I saw that.
I'm moving to Tennessee.
I can get my license in Tennessee without taking the bar exam down there. I just have to pass the ethics portion, and I can get my license down there. I might do it only because there's going to be so many Chicagoans down there. There's going to be a market for me down there. They're going to want to talk. They want to talk to fellow Chicagoans, and it's going to be a good market down there for me and for all Chicagoans. Here's what I don't want to happen. I don't want you to move to Tennessee and take your bad politics with you. Leave that bad politics here in Illinois, where we deserve it, and don't take it with you to Tennessee.
I don't understand what people are doing. I love it when people go,
You see what people are saying in Texas? All these people from California are going to Texas and bringing their bad politics with them,
which is so
funny.
You're
fleeing it, and then you bring it.
You kept that there. You started that there, and then you're going to bring it over here? It's insane. It's the definition of insane.
I agree with that. And then you think, and then you're going to complain about, then where are you going to go? You're going to bring all that bad politics everywhere. And that's what's happening with the suburbs too, Jim. Your suburbs used to be kind of Republican, but the suburbs aren't Republican anymore. They all moved from the city, brought all that bad, we hate the politics in the city, and then they brought all that bad politics to the suburbs. Mm-hmm. So now suburbs are just like the city.
I know, man.
Just unbelievable.
You're preaching to the choir.
I know. I'm not really a preacher.
You are today.
I'm a tax attorney.
Remember, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in. I wanted to say remember because we do thank you for tuning into our live stream heard every Friday. It's going to be a little more as the weeks go on, as we get into December and January. You're going to start seeing more of an organized effort from us because we're going to have another show called the Trust Radio Network.
That's correct.
Now, the Trust Radio Network is going to be an avenue for us here at the IRS Radio Hour to bring on a group of professionals that you can trust. Not just us, you can. Because they are time-tested and true professionals in every sense of the word.
For the most important decisions in your life.
Exactly. From home loan
right.
experts to realtors. I'm not sure. I have to plug myself. Anyway, from medical to attorneys.
Dentists.
Medical.
Yeah.
So, I'm just using I'm using really like a
home
umbrella. Home repair, contractors. What you guys need, we will have them on this show. Remember, the Trust Radio Network. You'll start hearing more of it coming up here. We're also going to mention it, too, as we go back on the air. Now, remember, we record Friday, show airs Sunday. Okay, if you guys are watching this after our live stream. If you have a question, feel free to put a comment in the video. We'll be able to answer it live right to you guys.
Ready to go?
Yes.
Yes.
Welcome back to the IRS Radio Hour with attorney Stephen Leahy. Stephen has helped hundreds of Chicagoans recover from financial disaster, and he wants to help you and your family. There are resolutions, and you will hear about all those resolutions during today's informative discussion on the IRS Radio Hour on AM 560 The Answer. Now, here's your host, attorney Stephen Leahy.
Welcome back. I am your host. I'm attorney Stephen Leahy. This is the IRS Radio Hour on AM 560
The Answer.
Here with Deborah Schreiner, Jim Leahy, your trusted trio. You like that?
You know what? I do like that because we have a new thing coming up.
Oh.
The Trust Radio Network.
The Trust Radio Network.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. The Trust Radio Network. Not only are we going to be getting a group of people together to provide excellent entertainment, but we're going to have a group of trusted, true, tried professionals that will be able to help you in some of the most toughest decisions
exactly true.
Really in your life.
The most important decisions that you have to make.
Well, those are toughest too.
Yeah.
For example, we'll have true, trusted home loan professionals. We'll make sure that we have the right kind of legal advice coming on the show as well.
You get hurt in an accident, who do you call? You know,
I know who we call.
You can go through the phone book. I guess we don't go through phone books anymore. You can Google on Google, but you're not going to find the right guy there.
That's right.
You know.
We'll bring on different contracts. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we have a great opportunity for you, and we'll be every Saturday at 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock, am I correct?
Every Friday afternoon on our live podcast. So remember that too, because we're going to it's a podcast show.
We record Friday, the show airs Sunday, and what we do on Fridays is we also have a live stream. So go on YouTube, look up attorney Stephen Leahy, and you'll be able to see our live stream. So if you have a question and you haven't called Open Tax Resolution 312-664-6649, go on to YouTube, type in a question in the comment section, and we will answer it for you. Listen, there's a way to get your question answered. Without further ado, though, we got to go right in the blog segment.
That's right.
It's the blog segment. The blog. The blog.
Okay.
No.
Uh-oh.
I like it. Let it play.
Okay. I did watch Perry Mason last night. I just hear the music, but it is so great to see the old show, and of course at the end of in that show, at the end, the woman who really killed him, the guy, stood up and tried to run out of the courtroom.
I always like how in the courtroom scenes, sometimes they'll zoom in real close on each of the people who's a suspect.
Yeah.
Like, is it this woman? Is it this guy? They look pretty nervous.
They all look nervous. And she was nervous, and then she stood up. I don't care. He tried to leave me.
Those old TV shows really have something to say. I mean, like the Twilight Zone, there's some scary episodes.
I was going to talk about that too, but I have something to say too. Okay, and what I have to say.
This is scary too.
It can be.
Is this our Halloween episode again?
It can be scary. What I want to talk about though is, as you know, on the blog segment, I talk about what happens in my office, and so many of my clients had come to me and owe taxes because they haven't. They're in business and they just haven't filed their tax returns, and we're going to talk about that in the Mr. Know-It-All segment too about this and what my advice is to people starting a business. But I'm going to talk today about people who are W-2 employees and don't file tax returns. Okay, because people say, "Well, why do I have to file? It's my money. I always get a refund. Why? What's the difference? Why do I? What does it matter to me whether I file tax returns or not? It's just a hassle. I got to pay someone and I got to do my tax returns, so I just won't do them. And actually, if I don't do my tax returns and I owe the IRS owes me, they don't really care that much because they want your money. Okay, and And so they won't come after you. Although you have to realize that it is a crime not to file tax returns. Even if they owe you money, it's still a crime. Now they're not going to throw you in jail and say, hey, file your tax return so we can give you the money. They'll wait at least 3 years because you can only collect that refund that you're due for 3 years. So I've had people come to me who make a very good living, high six figures, very high six figures, and they don't file their tax returns. And they figure, well, again, what I just said, they owe me money. What's the difference? I don't, I'm not going to file. I'm so busy at work. And that's how do you think I make this kind of money? Because I work my tail off and I don't have time for this. Okay. So they just don't file. And then things happen. So in one case, and I'm going to tell you, I'm talking about $5,000-$10,000 in refunds that they have every year that they just forgo. Okay. And again, you can only go back 3 years to get them. So I've had people haven't filed since 2010 or before. But what happens is when an event happens that's unusual. So you sell a home, right? You're going to sell your home eventually and you're going to move somewhere else. Well, that event is sent to the IRS that you sold your home, and they don't have a tax return to account for it. And so they just say, oh, you sold your home for $400,000. That's $400,000 in income. We're going to tax you on that income.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden you get a bill from the IRS for $100,000 and some $1,000. And I've had that happen with a client. Recently, I had a client who had a event in her life. Her one of her children was getting married. And so she wanted to help fund the bill. So she sold some stock. Okay, so she had some stock as an investment, and she turned around and she sold the stock, and then used that money for her child's wedding. And but what happens is your broker has reported those sales to the IRS, and the IRS says, "Hey, wait a minute, these sales were not recorded on a tax return." So we'll do it for you. This is called an SFR, a substitute for return.
That sounds like the scariest word
and they
English,
believe
in the dictionary.
Actually, the IRS is the scariest word, but that's 3 words. Anyway, that's an Internal Revenue Service. But anyway, what happens is that then they say, well, here, you sold you had this income, and she got a bill for $60,000 to the IRS, and they said, by the way, not only do you owe us $60,000, but you better pay us by next week. Okay. And so she comes to me in a panic. What do I do? I got the IRS on me. I haven't filed in all these years. I am, and she's distraught, and she can't sleep at night, and she's really worried about it. Okay. So this is what I would tell people. Even though you're a W-2 employee and you think that you don't have to file your tax return because it's a hassle, let me help you take the hassle out of it. If you're getting a refund and you're not getting it anyway, the best thing to do then is call me and get into our IRS protection plan. And the IRS protection plan is ongoing tax advice, but also will prepare your tax return at the end of every year.
Really?
So all you have to do is send us the information, and you don't really have to do anything else.
Is this?
And we'll do the tax
other law
return for you.
firms do this?
I'm sure that there's CPAs and things that do this, but not law firms that are really looking out to protect you, because this is what's going to happen, right? Because you're going to have these events happen in your life, and then the IRS is going to fall down on you like a ton of bricks, and you don't want that. You want to be protected from the IRS, and that's why we have the IRS protection plan to set it up. We will do your tax return every year. We will provide you with tax advice throughout the year. We will monitor the IRS letters to you. So if they're ever going to send you something, they have to send it to us, because we'll have a power of attorney on file. And if they ever send you a notice, we'll get the notice too, and we will act on that notice. Because people tell me, and you know this if you have this IRS problem, when you get letters from the IRS, you don't want to open the mail.
No way.
Because you're afraid. And so you put it in a drawer, and you hope to open it next week
What's
or
some
the
of your
week
best?
after that.
Some of the best advice you ever gave me was, Jim, make the call you don't want to make.
That's my eat the frog, right? Do things you don't want to do. Do that first. And that's my advice to people. And my advice to you is call Open Tax Resolution and the Law Office of Stephen Leahy. Sign up for our IRS protection plan. Even if you don't owe the IRS, let's make sure that you'll never have this IRS problem haunting you. Because if you're not filing your tax return, again, even if they're supposed to send you a refund, this problem is it's gonna come out of nowhere and it's gonna shock you.
I think you said it perfectly, though. Make the call you don't want to make. Call Open Tax Resolution today. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, we understand. And the 6 things you can do to get out of IRS problem, well, one of them being not do anything at all,
One
right?
of the things you can do
is
do nothing.
Do nothing.
But
sit there and let it fester.
And
ignore
they
it.
will knock on your door. And you're in
they
trouble.
will be there. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, remember, call Open Tax Resolution. Make that call today and fix your problem so you can start thinking about tomorrow today. I'll go into that in a second. Open Tax Resolution, 312-664-6649, or visit chicagotaxteam.com. It's going to be your hub to fight the IRS. I'm Jim Leahy with that Properties. Let's start thinking about tomorrow today. That's my slogan. Because it's 2019's coming up. It's not too early to start thinking. Now, listen to our sponsors and come right back here on AM 560.
The Answer. Good, Jim. That was a good one. I went off on the IRS protection plan. It wasn't even in my plan.
It's very informative, though, that you have that and that you mention that to people that, yes, we do have an IRS protection plan.
I do get this a lot. Well, you help people who owe IRS, but you don't prepare people. You don't prepare tax returns. The answer is we do. We do prepare.
Well, depends on when you call. If you call in the 11th hour,
we'll still prepare. We just won't do it by because we'll be too busy, like everyone else. And I had a guy come in this week, and he had set up a trust for his kids some years ago, and never filed the tax return for the trust. So now he was really worried about it, and so we gave him some advice on that. And so again, if you're looking to get tax returns done, it's not our bread and butter, right? So I'm not trying to sell you on it. We'll do it for you, and we're actually, we provide very good service on this. But that's so if you're a listener of this show or you're watching this podcast and you need your tax returns done or you're paying someone now, you might as well call us, let us do it for you because you could trust us. We're on the Trust Radio Network.
That's right. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, the Trust Radio Network is going to be live for you guys, not necessarily on AM 560.
The Answer.
It's going to be on AM 560 every Saturday night at 10, and we're going to be, as we just mentioned, we're going to have a multitude of people come on who are going to be your trusted professionals, okay? And when I mean yours, I mean, listen, these people who we're bringing on, you can trust them. We've done the research. We've seen them go out there time and time again, stick their neck out for their clients, and they keep coming back. Ladies and gentlemen, remember, the Trust Radio Network will be there for you today. Also, to remember as well, if you have any questions regarding the show or any questions regarding the IRS radio hour or any questions regarding taxes, make sure you put that in our comment section, and we'll answer it for you.
How about real estate, Jim? How if they have questions?
Well, you can put that
in
the comment as well, or you can give me a call, Jim Leahy with that Properties, 847-271-3695. Let's start thinking about tomorrow. Today, I wanted to touch a little bit on how important it is to get a pre-qualification before you really do go into the home buying process. As you just did your blog segment, I'll touch on this very quickly. Ladies and gentlemen, getting a pre-qualification is almost as good, if not as good, as a cash offer. Why is that? You've gone through the underwriting process. They've seen that you are able to take out the loan and that you're able to
you can close within days.
Closing within, well, some firms.
I'm talking days, 5 days, 5 business days, 10 business days.
Now, you can go without the process. You go throughout the process, go, well, I'm just looking, and all of a sudden you find that home. You go, oh, I got to have it. So you call your realtor. I got to put an offer, and I love this home. And the realtor is going to ask you, okay, how are we paying for it? What? Yeah, a loan. Okay. Have you talked to anybody? No, but we'll get in there. And then you fall in love with this home. Okay, you call up the lender. The lender goes, don't worry, I got this for you. And all of a sudden, you're scrambling. Not only are you doing your job, bringing in the bacon that you do, But now you have to get everything together. I got to get all my W-2s. I got to get all my 1099s. I got to get everything in order. I got to, okay, I'll send this over to you. And you have deadlines that you
need to
got to
worry about inspections.
And you got to, and on top of that, on top of making sure that if there's an inspection, anything is found in the inspection, we make sure it's taken care of. Because again, your realtor's not going to let your client.
That's just one less ball that you have up in the air as you're juggling them when you're going to move.
Because it's a process, and being a realtor, I am the conductor of this orchestra, making sure that everything is lining up, working correctly. I mean, the attorneys take over and they do their part, and they're all powerful and all knowing.
Actually,
please don't hurt me. Please don't.
The attorneys are actually in charge of the process. I'm just kidding, but it's true. We do think so.
I don't practice law, but anyway, ladies and gentlemen, remember, just a pre-qualification, a simple pre-qualification before you start that home buying process can save you a headache and a half. Trust
2 headaches.
Ready for the
Jim Leahy with that properties 847-271-3695.
Maybe I should have a picture of a constitution. What do you think? I think it'll only take a second for me to get that. Constitution.
I kind of wish it was snowing some more. I wish we had like a nasty, 9-10-inch snowstorm.
No.
I love that. I don't know why. I love it. It's when the snow sits there. It's coming, Deborah. It's coming. You are delusional. They should bring you on. You gotta ask to get on that trip to Cancun. If this is down for you, you gotta get on that Cancun trip.
I'm gonna get on that Cancun. I don't think we're going to Cancun this year, though.
Don't let him bring back the coconut.
Not sure where we're going, though.
Did he get you the coconut?
Which wasn't good.
Oh, it was the spicy candy.
I meant to make it
Wait
good.
a second.
I didn't know if it
Do
was
you
good.
still have the coconut?
I don't have it.
I'm sure she does.
Again, ladies.
I have the coconut, but not the candy.
I
Candy
hate to
was
ask.
bad.
Hey, Deborah, can you shut that? Yeah.
The candy was bad. I didn't know it was bad because I didn't know it was bad. I wouldn't know it was going to be bad.
So we hope you guys are having a wonderful
Is that
time
something?
out
I
there.
didn't realize that was coming in from her.
I found that to be, again, I think that's some sort of advice that needs to be said more and more. I know that a lot of home loan professionals do talk about that. Make sure you get that pre-qualification. And again, do you have to? No. You can go with the pre-approval and then you can go through the process and you're still judging. And it'll get through.
I have seen.
That is what I wanted to touch on, though, is because you set yourself up, you fall in love with this home, you get the all right, awesome, I'm doing everything that needs to be done, and all of a sudden, boom, you didn't get the loan.
I know, and then they tell you, I know, oh no, it's a for sure thing, it's a done deal.
Done.
And then it ain't a done deal.
No.
And then now the closing's next week, and you don't have a loan.
Okay.
Yes.
Constitution segment?
Constitution segment. Yes.
Remember,
You
if you have a
play
question,
it at the start,
Yes, please.
right? So you can get right into it.
What are we going to talk about the Constitution, Jim?
Well, you could talk about the election that just happened.
Yes.
I mean, there's
It's all about the Constitution.
There's a lot of stuff.
Oh, I know what I want to talk about.
Senate, House.
I'm going to talk about the numbers because I don't know if you've seen. Well, I got it.
You're listening to the IRS Radio Hour with attorney Stephen Leahy on AM 560, The Answer. Attorney Stephen Leahy brings his passion and expertise to your radio each and every week during the IRS Radio Hour. Tune in, take notes, and be educated. Learn your options resolving financial obstacles that face so many. And now, back to the IRS Radio Hour with your host, attorney Stephen Leahy.
From 1788 until the end of time, we the people make a resolution to defend the Constitution.
We're not going to sit here and listen to you badmouth the United States of America.
So let liberty, justice, and freedom ring. It's the Constitution segment.
Our Constitution is a document in which we, the people, tell the government what it is allowed to do.
The Constitution of the United States of America. What an amazing document.
It is an amazing document. And there are those out there who want to always point out the flaws in the Constitution. I think they're imaginary flaws myself. We just had an election, okay? And in this election, we only elect a third of all of the senators. Sometimes I think it was a little more than that because we had some.
There was a couple of seats that were not
trying to fill, like that they left.
And
yes.
McCain.
No, okay.
Yeah.
I get that. One with Mississippi also.
Mississippi, two Mississippi.
Exactly.
Stop it.
And then all of the Congress is elected. And of course we have districts, and some states have only one congressman. Some states have many congressmen. Here in Illinois, we're losing congressmen because we're losing population. So that means we're losing power in the government, in the Congress, because we don't have as much of a delegation as we used to have. We used to have a much larger delegation than we do now. But if you've been paying attention since the election, and I've talked about this on this show before, about those that want to get rid of the Electoral College, okay, because they say it's not fair because some of the small states have 2 senators, and the big states also only have 2 senators. And there are those now that are talking about, if you look at the popular vote for the Congress, the Democrats got a much bigger percentage of the popular vote than the Republicans did. They should have won a lot more seats than that. And they also have the popular vote for the Senate was much more on the Democrats, and yet the Democrats lost seats.
So where are you getting at?
Because this is our Constitution. Okay?
I get it.
We are a republic. We're not a democracy. And there are those that want to make us a democracy. Why? Because they think it's fair? No, because it gives them power. That's what they're looking for. They're looking to take power away from the Americans and give it, because this is what's good. We talked a little bit about this in the first segment about Illinois, New York, California. These states would run everything if we just did that. Let's not all put it all in one pile. We get enough votes because they get 80% of the votes in some parts of the country. That the Democrats get 80%. In the larger municipalities. I know that some places in Chicago, 90% of the vote goes Democrat. Okay, so if you took all that and you added them all together and then divvied out the number of Congress based on the number of votes, that's the way they want it to be done. I told you
I don't care when it comes down Republican or Democrat. What I really want at the end of the day is anybody who's sitting incumbent for more than 10 years, bye. I don't care who you are. I'm voting you out. I like the turnstile. Keep it moving.
I agree with that.
Keep it moving.
I agree with that also. And if you look, even in this election that was supposed to be the blue wave, and I know it didn't really happen in the blue wave, but if you look at the incumbents, very few seats were really at stake. Because the incumbents always win, and more so in Illinois. So many of these incumbents had nobody running against them. They went unopposed. So that's because Illinois is such a great. We're in such great shape that we want to reward those in charge by not even running anybody against them. Let's just let them do everything they want, and we should just shut our mouths and let them do it. And that's what we're doing.
Like happy little citizens.
And that's what we're doing, and that's what's wrong. Okay, and that's what they want to do it for all of us. So you keep listening about how this popular vote, how it's unfair, the Senate is unfair, the Electoral College is unfair, it's unfair the way we do Congress, because all they want is
nobody
more power.
Understands that the states really think of it, they're their own countries. And when it first started, every one was their own countries.
And it should be.
But we had those United States.
That's right.
That's the whole point. We're the United States. With these different states, we were united under one common theme.
We've lost, Jim. We've lost it.
Well,
or we're losing it. We're on the road. Let's face it. We're on the road.
I love.
Don't join that road. Get off the road, people. Let's do it. Let's find the right way. Let's keep this Constitution strong, and we need those of you to get in there with us and help us fight for the Constitution.
OPM tax resolution 312-664-6649 or visit chicagotaxteam.com. It's going to be your hub to fight the IRS. I'm Jim Leahy with that Properties 847-271-3695. We hope you guys enjoyed that segment. It's a little bit newer segment. And it should be coming back. So listen to those sponsors and come right back, ladies and gentlemen, on AM 560.
The Answer. Loved it. I could talk about the Constitution forever. What was that, Deborah? What do we end with? Oh, good. Did I rant a little there?
You did. Rightfully so. You know,
That just irks me.
it's as I said, we need to stop with this partisan politics.
There's nothing wrong with partisan politics.
No, what we need to stop that. Instead of just getting caught up, be like, oh, Donald Trump said this, or Nancy Pelosi said that, or look at Elizabeth Warren. No, that's all distractions. Let's sit and talk. Okay, you think you're a Democrat, I think I'm a Republican. Fine. Here is the Bill of Rights. Let's go and see where we stand. I think you're going to find a lot more common ground than people believe. I think that I honestly believe
I have
people
to say,
will find
like,
more common
with
ground.
Gun control and things like this. Those who are honest and say, okay, I want to take everybody's guns and we need to change the Second Amendment. Let's have that debate. But don't come to me and say I'm a big Second Amendment fan, but but we need to do these common sense approach, because common sense approach is really confiscation.
Is here in Illinois.
In California.
Common sense in California is having an AR-15 with a non-retractable magazine. They find ways around it, and guess what? Then the rifles become even more dangerous.
They have the most restrictive laws in Illinois, and in California.
Yeah, they do.
And these
they do. Oh, trust me, I know.
And these bad things still happen.
I know.
Okay, let's do this.
Mr. Know-It-All.
Yes. Oh, you're not talking to me?
Welcome back to the IRS Radio Hour with attorney Stephen Leahy. Stephen has helped hundreds of Chicagoans recover from financial disaster, and he wants to help you and your family. There are resolutions, and you will hear about all those resolutions during today's informative discussion on the IRS Radio Hour on AM 560 The Answer. Now, here's your host, attorney Stephen Leahy.
Yeah, I'm the tax man. I had so much fun in that last segment. I wanted to thank Deborah for the intro of that segment.
That's right. That's a really
we love the Constitution.
That's right.
On this
we are
show.
Constitutionalists,
and we're going to talk about the Constitution often on this show, and we want you to join us to do that.
Hopefully, we talk about Illinois' Constitution.
I don't know enough
when they
about
ratify when they ratified so that you can declare bankruptcy. That's what they're going to have to do.
I agree with that.
That's the only answer there is. I'm not going off right now. This is Mr. Know-It-All.
And now, here's that man with a head just crammed full of knowledge, Mr. Know-It-All.
I'm right here. I'm always teetering on the edge of rant or not. I have two questions for you today, Attorney Stephen Leahy. The first question is, since it is Veterans Day, do you know why it is Veterans Day today?
The 11th month of the 11th day at the 11th hour is World War I was completed.
People don't really understand World War I and how intense and how that set died. How many? It set everything up. It set everything up for today.
It actually set everything up for World War II because they didn't finish.
World War II set everything up for today. So in essence, World War One started the modern era.
I agree with that. But let's talk about IRS problem.
Yes, I do. I digress. Please, what's the question today?
The question today is, what is my best advice to somebody who is starting a business? Because remember, it's really the beginning. If you start the business right, you can avoid a lot of problems.
Make money.
Well,
that's good advice.
Well, that's always good advice. But it's hard to make money if you don't set it up correctly.
Exactly.
Okay. And I always talk about, like, for instance, I make a great pie. I mean, I don't, but somebody does. And they want to start a business. And everybody tells, that's the best darn pie I ever had. You should just open a business to make pies and sell them. People will love those pies. And so they say, that's a great idea. I'm going to open up a pie shop. And they make the pies, and they're the best darn pies ever, but nobody ever hears of them. And so nobody buys the pies. So making the best pie is only one ingredient of running a business. The most important part, and we touched on this last week or a couple of weeks ago, where I talked about bookkeeping. Okay, so here's my best advice to you if you're starting a business. Start with a good bookkeeping system. Okay, do it right away. Do it day one. Write everything down. Keep records of everything, because that's what you're going to need to file your tax returns. And it's also going to help you if you're ever going to look for money. So you want money, a bank to loan you money to help your business. They're going to look for records. It's going to come time to the end of the year, and you're going to have to file a tax return. Well, that takes records. I told you that oftentimes what happens with people who get IRS problems is that it comes time for tax season. They don't have the records handy to prepare their tax return, and so the first thing they do is get an extension. And then the extension goes, I'll have all summer now to do the bookkeeping and
I'll pay it in October.
And well, we all know that's a mistake, because the tax is due in April.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to.
No, that's kind of a mistake.
It's important to touch on that.
I agree with that. And so what happens again is bookkeeping. Get a good bookkeeping system. If you can, hire a bookkeeper, because sometimes you're great at baking a pie or making a pie, but maybe you're not too good at accounting. Maybe you don't know what a debit or credit is. Maybe you don't know where to put it, what expense that is, if it is an expense. Maybe you don't know how to do that. Well, then hire someone who does. And they say, well, I'm a new business. I can't really afford it. I'm going to tell you something. You might not be maybe you can't afford not to do this, okay? Because your business won't make it. Because what happens is you dig these problems. And so I have people come to see me, and that's their problem. They started a business. The business is successful, but now they've dug a hole in with the IRS because they have clients or they have employees and they didn't pay the payroll tax. Well, I'm going to tell you something. If you don't pay payroll taxes,
we have Precision Payroll come on this show.
Yes, and you're going to dig a hole that you can't get out of. And then you're going to have Social Security problems because there's what they call mismatch. If your Social Security filings don't match your IRS filings, and they penalize you heavily. They penalize you so heavily that you probably aren't going to make it. That business isn't going to make it. Even if it's successful, even if you make the best pie in the world and you're selling them, you will dig a hole you'll never get out of. Okay, so my advice here, let me put it in one: get a bookkeeper. That's the best advice. And then if you can't get a bookkeeper,
or like
then
Precision
get a good
Payroll, for example.
Well, that's for payroll.
But going in as you become more successful, and then you have more employees working for you, make sure you get a payroll system that really does record.
Well, that's key. So
it really is.
Anyway,
key.
I hope that answers your question.
Thank you, Mr. Know-It-All.
That's right. Thank you, Mr. Know-It-All. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, if you have a question, you can do a multitude of things. You can go on YouTube and you can watch our live stream. You can go on our live stream every Friday. Just look up Law Office of Stephen A. Leahy, and you'll be able to see our videos that we do every Friday. You'll subscribe, like, share, all that good stuff. Write a question, or you can call Open Tax Resolution 312-664-6649, or visit ChicagoTaxTeam.com. It's going to be your hub up. Fight the IRS. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm Jim Leahy with that Properties, 847-271-3695. Let's start thinking about tomorrow today for your move in 2019. That's right, Jim Leahy, real estate agent from Properties. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, listen to the sponsors and come back here on AM 560. The Answer. That was good advice. You know, a lot of people think that it's just so easy. And the hardest part about running your own business is being consistent. Is consistency.
I agree with that, but it's also the paperwork.
Regardless if you're making the pie, regardless if you're making the pie, anybody can do the paperwork. It's the consistency of the paperwork. That's what I'm saying. Anybody can make the pie, but the pie needs to be consistent.
I agree with that. I agree.
My customer service has to be consistent.
They have to be consistent.
And I also need to make sure that my bookkeeping's consistent.
And when you're making a pie, you have to go to the pantry to get the ingredients, and they have to be there. Okay, that means you had to prepare for it.
And they have to be fresh. They can't be expired.
Exactly. Now, that reminds me, because I remember years ago, a guy opened up a fruit stand by me, okay? And I would go in there and buy fruit, but the guy was having financial problems right from the bat. And the fruit was no good then, okay? He wouldn't buy new fruit. And it kind of causes this effect where then nobody's going to buy from you.
Spiral.
Yeah.
No one wants bad.
No one's buying it because
product.
No one's buying it for you, so your fruit gets bad, and no one's going to buy your fruit because it's bad. I mean, it's just a spiral. And then you don't have money to buy new fruit. Well,
it's tough.
It is tough. Business is tough. And again, I've seen so many. And you would think would be successful businesses, but they dig themselves a hole that they can never get out of. And with the IRS and
California's
with the Social Security,
reasonable regulation of guns did not stop the Thousand Oaks shooting.
I was mentioning that, and I didn't want to. You know what the problem with the Oaks that shooting is? That man needed help.
Yes,
and we need to provide this help to these military people.
Did we notice too? We've done the homeless shelters before, and
Yes.
we've noticed. I've noticed too. Many of those who are homeless really need help, and they're not getting it.
I agree with that.
They're not, the state would like to throw money here. You go. Here's food, but they don't really want to take care of the problem. It's sad. It really is. I see it we see firsthand accounts of it. It's the saddest thing. Anyway, we're going to wrap up the show the only way we know how to, ladies and gentlemen. That's going to be stumbling across the finish line, hoping to God that we don't screw up. I'm joking, because we're professionals at every sense of the word.
You know what we're going to talk about? I'm going to talk about what my co-host, what nice thing he did for me last week.
It was nice.
It was nice.
I had fun. I liked it. Let's do it. During the segment when I looked over at you for the Constitution, I was saying Lindsey Graham, where he goes, "God, y'all want power."
I hope you never get it.
When you say Sotomayor, you tell her I say hello.
I say hello. Hello.
Because I voted for them.
Isn't it amazing how he's become a conservative icon?
Hello.
And
hello.
He's not.
Yeah, because
we never talked about.
He got it. You tell Sotomayor I say hello.
And we didn't even talk about Tucker.
It's a sham.
We didn't even talk about Tucker Carlson, and what's going on at his house. You've heard this, right?
Yeah.
What's going on at his house?
There
Are people
protesting outside of his house and banging on his door and scaring the heck out of his wife when he's not home? She's locked herself. Herself in a pantry. They almost knocked that door down. He had a big oak door. They almost knocked it down. They damaged the door.
Why didn't she call the police?
She did call the police. They did finally come, but they're
trespassing.
They are trespassing, and I'm gonna tell you something. I'm a big advocate of the Second Amendment. That's what I would tell them.
Okay, ready for the last segment?
Ready, set, go.
You're listening to the IRS Radio Hour with attorney Stephen Leahy on AM 560, The Answer. Attorney Stephen Leahy brings his passion and expertise to your radio each and every week during the IRS Radio Hour. Tune in, take notes, and be educated. Learn your options resolving financial obstacles that face so many. And now, back to the IRS Radio Hour with your host, Attorney Stephen Leahy.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I am not your host, Attorney Stephen Leahy, but your co-host, Jim Leahy, and I'm joined here today with Deborah Schreiner, our technical producer, Stephen Leahy, Attorney Stephen Leahy, our host, and this is the IRS Radio Hour on AM 560.
The answer.
Boy, y'all want power. God, I hope you never get it.
Let's keep that handy. Deborah,
Always have that on.
My new conservative icon, Lindsey Graham.
I know.
But I do like that. Play that again for me.
Let's hear it one more time.
Boy, y'all want power. God, I hope you never get it.
Because it's so true.
I hope you never get it.
It's so true.
I could say that every day.
Hello.
I hope you never get it.
We hope you guys are enjoying out there. I know that we enjoyed last week, Attorney Stephen Leahy.
Okay, so I wanted to thank my co-host, my realtor, my very good friend, Jim Leahy, because he took me to the Notre Dame Northwestern game, and our poor little Deborah team, her team lost. It was good though. They gave a great. They did battle. I give them that till late into the game, and then ND took over, and it was a lot of fun. We had a great time. Jim and I did.
I enjoyed.
We did a little tailgating.
I was surprised at how packed that was getting through that concourse.
Oh,
I've been to a lot of sporting
that was
events.
bad. We went into the wrong gate,
and it was bad.
It took us 20 minutes to get from one section to the other. It was really bad.
But we were sitting behind the end zone there, so when we're able to leave, there's the visitors entrance. You're like, let's go. I'm like, no, let's stay here.
We stayed.
So I got to meet the priest. That was pretty cool.
We stayed and watched the ND players. And
I got to shake a couple of hands.
The Northwestern security guys said, okay, you can't stand here. They're not used to anybody really caring about the football team.
You guys got to keep moving, and everybody looked.
Nobody moved. So
you got to keep that guy with his kid. So this guy with the kid standing right next to me, and they come and go, hey, you guys got to move. And the guy goes, listen, it's just for my kid. Yeah, I'm not trying to do anything.
But they didn't really push us out, though. So.
No, because nobody was moving.
Nobody moved. So
they knew what was going on.
It's a lot of fun. ND still undefeated and
really pulling for them. They're playing Florida State. They played yesterday, and we're gonna remember we air Friday, here Sunday. I'm done talking about it because we do this too much on the show. We do this too much.
No jinx.
I know the Bears played earlier too. I'm not talking about it. We're done with that.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Joel Quenneville.
I know that's a terrible thing.
That's the saddest thing.
It's a scapegoat.
How you get rid
that's
of
a scapegoat.
It is, of course.
Yeah, someone's got to go, I guess.
My job's on the line. Means your job's on the line.
But actually they weren't giving him the players he needs. And we talked a little bit about that before.
Yeah, they were not at all. At all.
And I hope they bounce back.
They're going to rebuild.
The game last night, again, this is Friday, so it's Thursday, and watched some of the game last night.
The Thursday night game,
it was 4-0, and they came back.
They almost made it. They had their opportunities. They had their opportunities. You know what the problem is?
Get off your duff. That's my advice to them. Get off your duff.
Their passing is real. It was lukewarm at best. It was lukewarm at best. That's the problem. They kept trying to when they were on the blue line. They weren't. It just did.
So before we go, let me remind people to keep an eye out for the Trust Radio Network coming.
That's right. More information coming next week too, ladies and gentlemen. Listen, go on Facebook, like Open Tax Resolutions page. Go on YouTube, like
subscribe.
Attorney Stephen Leahy's page. Subscribe, like, share, tell all your friends. Listen to us every Sunday at 5 on AM 560.
The Answer.
And call Open Tax Resolution 312-664-6649 or visit ChicagoTaxTeam.com. It's going to be your hub to fight the IRS. I'm Jim Leahy with AF Properties. We want to 847-271-3695. Thank you so much for tuning in, ladies and gentlemen. Deborah Schreiner, best in the business. Attorney Stephen Leahy, best in the business. Jim Leahy, up and coming here on AM 560. The Answer. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Remember, more information.
Another great show, Jim.
It was actually a pretty good show today.
I agree.
Comment on the side, like, share, subscribe.
May I ask Deborah something? When we end the show here, Deborah, if I could have our ending, Bruno Mars ending, even when we get off the show here.
So when we do the two shows, then we do the Bruno Mars?
The Bruno Mars will be the end of the show, of the podcast show.
Like right now?
Yeah,
like you're thanking people.
Yeah. Yeah. And see, I'm going to do
You tell on style out.
very much like let me interrupt here. Very much like the podcast we do now. Before, we're going to start it with the Johnny Carson, and then we're going to end it just like we always did, because I really love those two parts of the show. But we'll just, in between, we'll do the 2 radio shows. Okay? What do you think? I'm listening. I hear it. I'm whooping.
I think it's great.
And you wouldn't say that on the air. What do you think?
I think it's marvelous.
Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in. I have already given you the numbers a million times. If you're just tuning in right now, go back to the beginning. You'll get everything you need to know. Thank you so much. Remember, same bat time, same bat channel on that one station we know and love. AM 560, The Answer, and YouTube.
So don't forget